In your experience, from what you've seen, of course, you've taken part in hundreds, maybe even thousands of customer journey mapping workshops and exercises, but I imagine you will have seen other people doing it as well. What are the biggest mistakes people make when going into like mapping their customer's journey?
Yeah, and this is a conversation that we could have for the next 3 hours, I think, unfortunately. I'll start from the beginning because I sort of have in my head this process that we go through when we're mapping. So I'll start from the beginning and talk about things like we need to map a persona, not a target audience or a segment, right? So a lot of people come into their mapping workshops and they're ready to map for a segment of customers. But what we really need to do is map for personas. And personas are research-based, and you may already have those buyer personas in marketing, but the CX design personas are a little bit more detailed. CX design personas have information like what problems are the customers trying to solve? What are their pain points? What tasks are they trying to achieve? What jobs, jobs to be done, all of that. There's more detail that helps us as CS professionals redesign the experience based specifically on that person's needs and the problems they're trying to solve. So that's one, because if you think about it, if you're trying to design an experience for a target audience, and I love to use this example always, male 18 to 49. I don't even know how advertisers advertise to men 18 to 49 because they're so different, but that's somebody's target demographic, right? And so we can't design an experience for just that sort of high level, segment of the population. We need to know a lot more about the customer so that we can design an experience specifically for them. And especially now with this, personalization being so key to the experience, that's got to be incorporated much more into designing the experience. Second problem that I think that a lot of people we talked a little bit about this, not having a clear scope. I've been in workshops where people they just start going all over. And I'm like, whoa. We need to have a point A to a point B. This is what we're mapping. If there are other journeys, if there are micro journeys, if there are other things you want to do, let's put it on the parking lot over there on the wall, capture it. We're going to map it, but not today, not right now. We need to stay focused on this particular experience, right? Another thing, and this is a big one, this is one of my biggest pet peeves, is around life cycle maps versus journey maps. I have seen so many examples of journey maps where they start with need, awareness, consideration, selection. That's not a journey map. That's a life cycle stage or a buyer funnel or whatever you want to call it, a sales funnel. Journey maps are so much more detailed. You're mapping an interaction within one of those life cycle stages, but a life cycle map and a journey map are not one and the same. So, and that takes me to another point, which is people don't map at enough level of detail. You've got to have enough detail to really understand what the experience is, what the steps are, where things are working and where they're breaking down. If you don't map at that level of detail, you're never going to be able to understand where things are going well and where they're not, and understand what it is that you need to fix or redesign when you're redesigning the experience. Two other things that I could go on, again, I could go on for days because this is a problem. But two other things that I'll mention is, number one, if you've started with an assumptive map, they don't validate the map with customer. They're like, I just mapped and we're good. We know what our customer is thinking. We know what our customer is doing. We know what they're feeling, and they don't go and validate with customers. And the flip side of that is if you start mapping and you're not doing an assumptive map, but you don't have customers in the room. The best way to map is to have customers in the room to, get the experience straight from the horse's mouth. So those are some of the mistakes that people make. There are a ton of others, trust me.